Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna look at some magic cards. Boop, boop, boop. All right, so trying something a little different today. What I'm doing here is just going through some cards. A friend of mine has started what's called a living league, or what he's dubbing a living league. Just opening up packs of Magic. It's really just like a sealed pool, and then each week we're adding more Magic cards to that pack or that deck. So I just wanted to go through these cards here, kind of show you what I got, what I built the first time around, and then what I'm thinking about building now that I've opened up the second packs. So we played the first week already. I did go kind of a blue-green, like +1/+1 counters. So let me show you what I got here. We'll go through these, and then I'll figure out if we want to do like a deck building, and then show you what I'm going to go with this next week. So just going through, I've got them in color order here. So I've got them all separated out. Repel the Vial is a great removal spell. White does seem pretty good in this. You've got white, blue vehicles, which I know is one of the archetypes for this. So you do have things like the Kinsu Ace, giving a vehicle first strike, or you can untap them. I know there's white-red samurais as well, but these will also work for your vehicles. The 2 power seems like it's really the base that you want. Another 2/3 lifelinker, more removal, banishing slash. Got more of that samurai theme here for the red-white. I did get a brilliant restoration with these like bigger cards, very heavy in one color. It's kind of difficult to go that route. It's a great card, but I don't know if that's going to be something that's going to be worth or easy to play. I got March of Otherworldly Light. This is a good card for white. Does give you the ability to exile target artifact, creature, or enchantment. So there's a ton of enchantments that are in this. There's a ton of enchantment creatures that are in here as well. So that's a great card to have in white. All the sagas, that Otherworldly Light would affect that. Befriending the Moth. These are good because they do have that creature on the back as well. So I do take that into consideration when building the deck. That is one of the creatures. Moth Rider Patrol. Got another Repel the Vial. Wanderer's Intervention. A lot of removal in white. Another one of the Samurai creatures. Another Wanderer's Intervention. The Ganjo Exemplar. Didn't try really going down the Samurai route. I don't know how much I like that, because really to get the benefit of that, you have to attack alone. I'm really wanting more so to attack with a bunch of creatures rather than just one. Another removal for Touch the Spirit Realm. The channel abilities have been really good, especially with a couple of cards that are in here that care about discarding. So that's the white. Blue. I know blue-black does have an artifact theme, and it also has a ninja theme. So we've got a couple of ninjutsu abilities. I'm thinking about going blue-black this time around, because I did open up some more ninjas for the second packs that I got. Prosperous Thief, more ninjutsu, making treasures. Once again, there is another archetype that's in here that has to do with artifacts. Putting counters on there, having counter spells. This saved my butt in the blue-green deck that I had built. Another Prosperous Thief, Goshintai of Lost Wisdom. Mill usually tends to be good in sealed in 40 card decks. but if you don't have enough shrines, it's not really doing anything. It's milling X, where X is the number of shrines you control, so I didn't really open. I think I got a shrine in red, green, blue, and then just those. Inventive Iteration. It does turn into Living Breakthrough. I did get 2 of those. The front side, return up to 1 target creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand. Little bounce spell. Return an artifact that you control from your graveyard. Once again, there is a lot of artifacts in blue, and then it turns into the Living Breakthrough, which does have flying. So anything that's with invasion or evasion in the ninjutsu deck is good. I did get a Thousand-Faced Shadow. I don't know how great the ability is. It is flying, which will help other ninjas get into play. But when it enters the battlefield from your hand, if it's attacking, create a token that's a copy of another target attacking creature. The token enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. So that might just be good to get out early, and then at least have some evasion to get that through. This I had in my blue-green. I was kind of using it just more for the channel, because it's 1 blue, and then you get to draw a card, which is great. Anything that's going to give you the ability to draw more cards. The Network Disruptor enters the battlefield. You get to tap a target permanent. Tameo's Completion. We got another Ninja. When it enters the battlefield, return up to 1 target creature to its owner's hand, so it can kind of get some bounce going on there. That could be your hand as well. So Moon Circuit Hacker. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card unless Moon Circuit Hacker entered the battlefield this turn. The Mirror Shell Crab was really something that, if you get up to the 7 mana, it's a huge creature, but I was using it more for the channel ability. So it's just a counter spell or an ability, unless they pay 3. Suit Up. I know there's that blue-white vehicles. Didn't really get too many vehicles, so I'm not sure how much I'll use this card, but it does give you the ability to draw a card, and then an artifact creature, or vehicle becomes an artifact creature with power 4 and toughness 5. Moonfolk Puzzle Maker, just a big flyer, or big butt flyer, and it does give you the ability to scry. Disruption Protocol gives you the ability to counter a target spell. Spell Pierce, another Disruption Protocol, and then a Covert Technician. So did get a lot of blue. Inkrise Infiltrator is a ninja. It's got flying. You can give it +2/+2 till end of turn. You can do that multiple times, which is pretty good. Plus it has evasion, so it does give you the ability to ninjutsu and some stuff. This was surprisingly good in a couple of the matches that I played. This was used against me, so there was a couple of times where I did lose up to 5 life for this. So if you think about it, if it's 1 black, lose 5 or deal 5 damage, it's really good. This was kind of surprisingly good as well. Once again, only 1 black. The first 2 chapters are each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And then it's got Menace, and it's a 2/2. Vehicles you control have Menace. The people that played this against me didn't really have any vehicles, but the 2/2 Menace is pretty good. Ninjutsu with lifelink. I got another one of the Okuba Reckoner raid. Undercity Scrounger, creating treasure tokens. I know black-red is that artifact-themed deck, so you can create artifacts and then sacrifice them. Some enchantments. This is just giving it +1/+1. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. So 4-drop. enchantment plus destroy a creature. Kato's Pursuit, target player discards 2 cards. Ninjas and rogues you control gain menace until the end of turn. So just giving your ninjas some evasion. Return to action. Till the end of your turn, target creature gets +1/+0 and gains lifelink. And then if the creature dies, you can return it back to the battlefield. I did pull a You're Already Dead. Destroy target creature that was dealt damage this turn, and then you get to draw a card. Anything with getting more cards in your hand is really good. Return target creature or vehicle, so Okabai Salvage, return target creature or vehicle card from your graveyard to the battlefield, then put 2 1/1 counters on it. This is just good. Even if you don't have vehicles, you can do a creature that gets 2 1/1 counters on it. I got Takochi Shadow Walker. It's kind of fun to just have an ogre ninja. Kami of the Restless Shadows. Return target ninja or rogue creature card from your graveyard to your hand, or you can put any target creature onto the top of your library. There are a couple samurais in some other colors, so black does have some samurais. Nezumi Blade Blesser. This kind of has to do with enchantments and artifacts. So if you have an artifact, it has Death Touch. If you have an enchantment, it has Menace. Virus Beetle. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. Reckoner Shakedown. Target opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a non-land card from it. If you do, that player discards that card. If you don't, put 2 1/1 counters on a vehicle you control. Debt to the Kami. This just gives the opponent. I'm not a big fan of it because it does give the opponent the ability to exile the creature that they control. So they get the choice in the matter. So not too big on that. Nezumi Prowler. When it enters the battlefield, target creature you control gains Death Touch and lifelink until end of turn. So this is good if something does get blocked and something doesn't get blocked. You can ninjutsu this in and then give the other creature Death Touch and lifelink. Try to remove one of their big creatures. Another ninja. We've got whenever Dakochi Silencer deals combat damage to a player, you may discard a creature card. When you do, destroy target creature or planeswalker that player controls. So that's my black cards. Then we've got red. We've got some of the sagas. Red has, I know, red-black artifacts. So, and then it's got red-green, kind of big, modified or reconfigured, I think it's called. It does have some channel abilities in there. So this was surprisingly good in the games that I was playing, because when it enters the battlefield, it does 2 damage to any target, but it's also a 2/3 with reach. There's the another one of the shrines. Once again, if you have a shrine, it deals X based upon how many shrines you have. I think I only got the 3, so I wasn't really thinking about going 5-color shrines or anything. We've got Rabbit Battery. It's got haste. The equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has haste. There's that reconfigure. I didn't get a ton of red, so this is another one of those big splashy mono colors. Unless you're really heavy in one particular color, this is not the best idea to run because it is very mana intensive. A couple of enchantments. We've got some removal with Kami's Flare. Deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Also deals 2 damage to the permanent's controller if you control a modified creature. Modified is that other keyword that you're looking for. Anything that has a +1/+1 counter or any counter, or if it has a enchantment on it, or if it's got an equipped or an artifact equipped to it. Unstoppable Ogre. Just enters the battlefield, target creature can't block this turn. Got the red-white samurais. Whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. So once again, that's really if you're just attacking alone. So wasn't too big on going that route. Tawashi Song Shaper. Whenever another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. This was something that is more for that artifact, red-black artifact. Aki Ember Keeper. It's a warrior, so that would go with the samurai warrior archetype. We've got Kami of Industry. Enters the battlefield, return target artifact with mana value 3 or less. So once again, that artifact, it's black-red, so it's more of like an artifact sacrifice. I didn't have a ton of artifacts, so. Explosive Entry, destroy up to 1 target artifact, put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature. So this goes in the modified or the artifact deck, really just depending upon what you get. That would also go in the modified deck. It is an enchantment, so something to go along with that. Red I didn't get a ton of, so I didn't really lean into red. Green I did get some good cards in, so that's why I went green that first time around. I did get a lot of +1/+1 stuff. So Coiling Stalker, whenever it deals damage to a player, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control that doesn't have a 1/1 counter on it. So this would just really help with getting all your creatures modified. And it's ninjutsu, so it is easy to kind of sneak that in to deal that damage. Heir of the Ancient Fang. It enters the battlefield with a 1/1 on it if you control a modified creature. So if you have anything that's been enchanted or has a +1/+1 counter on it already, you can have that enter with a +1/+1. Tales of Master Shishiro. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature. You get to do that twice. It gains Vigilance until end of turn, and then it turns into a 5/5 Vigilance Haste. So that was a card that I was leaning into with the green. Fade into Antiquity. There is tons of artifacts and enchantments in this set, so this was definitely something that is normally a sideboard card, but I did have one of them in my main deck just in case. Target creatures for Master's Rebuke. Target creatures you control deals damage equal to the power to target creature or planeswalker you don't control. So this is a nice little punch card. Instead of your creature dying, it just does its damage. So nice little removal. Harmonious Emergence. Get a big stompy creature. The only downside to this was that you enchant the land. If they have anything that destroys a creature or destroys something that's enchanted, this does die, so then you lose a land and you lose the emergence. If the enchanted land would be destroyed, instead sacrifice. So if enchanted land would be destroyed, instead sacrifice Harmonious Emergence, and that land has indestructible. So this does give you the ability to save it if it does get destroyed. Geothermal Kami. When it enters the battlefield, you may return an enchantment you control to its owner's hand. If you do, you gain 3 life. Historian's Wisdom. Just enchant an artifact or creature. That enchantment gets +2/+1 if it's a creature. And when it enters the battlefield, if you do have the greatest power among creatures on the battlefield, you get to draw a card. There is a good amount of flying in this set, so having something with reach is nice. This does have a lot of text on it, but you look at the top 5 cards of your library, reveal a creature or an enchantment. So this helps with the enchantments theme of green-white, I think. And then put that into your hand and put the rest onto your bottom of the library in a random order. If you didn't put a card in your hand, you gain 4 life. Azusa's Many Journey. this gives you the ability to play an additional land, gain 3 life, and then it turns into a 3/3 that if it gets blocked, you get to untap 3 lands. Didn't really get to use that ability. It seemed like that 3/3 just went unblocked most of the time. Green does have a little bit of ninjutsu in it, so that's kind of fun to have those in there, but doesn't really have a ton of support if you're doing ninjas, because you really want your ninjas to go unblocked or be able to have some unblockable creatures. If you have Death Touch, that usually seems to work really well, but I think flying or menace is the better evasion for that. But when this enters the battlefield with a Death Touch counter on it, so that would also work with your modified creatures, because it's any counter. And then whenever Kappa Tech Record deals combat damage to a player, you may remove a Death Touch counter from it. When you do, exile target artifact or enchantment that players control. So tons of artifacts, tons of enchantments. So this is nice for that. Shigeki, this was one that really kind of pulled me towards green. It does have that channel ability as well. You can return Shigeki Jukai Visionary to owner's hand, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a land from among them onto the battlefield, tapped, put the rest into your graveyard. And then the channel ability is you can discard Shigeki, return X target non-legendary card from your graveyard to your hand. I did get this one kind of shut down where somebody enchanted it, where it takes away the ability to block and attack and can't use its abilities. So that was kind of a bummer in that situation, but if you don't, then it is a way to get some ramp going. This was surprisingly good. The Jukai Trainee, whenever it blocks or becomes blocked, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So it's really a 3/3 for 2. Tamio's Safekeeping, I did get a couple of those. Target permanent you control gains hexproof and indestructible. You gain 2 life. Got a couple of those. This was really the one that I was trying to use if I had that ninjutsu creature in my hand. Attack with Death Touch. Usually nobody really wanted to block the Death Toucher. Then I got Bearer of Memory. I didn't put this into my deck because it's just got a big cost for the second one. I thought if this format was fast, I'm never going to be using that 6 mana to put a 1/1 counter on enchanted creature. It gains trample. Just thought 6 was a lot for 1/1 counter. Another one of the Heir of the Ancient Fangs. Careful Cultivation. What was interesting is I wanted to use this for the channel ability, but then every time that I had it in my hand, every creature that was on the battlefield was just so much bigger than a 1/1. And then I thought, if I'm using this just to get 1 mana, it wasn't the best. So most of the time I used it for that +1/+3 and has reach, because there is a ton of flying. Fade into Antiquity, so another one of those. The Spinning Wheel Kick. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each of X target creatures and or planeswalkers. Never drew it, so I wanted to play it, but never got it. I did get to use the Besage You, so I did pull up Besage You, which is nice. I used it for its channel ability, so get to destroy a target artifact, enchantment, or non-basic land an opponent controls. That player may search their library for a land with a basic land type, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature. I did get some other lands that I didn't put in there. Uncharted Haven enters the battlefield tapped. I went green-blue, so I didn't feel like it was that necessary to have something in there. If I went more than that, I might have put this in there. Mech Hanger, I didn't put any vehicles in here, so I didn't feel like there was really necessary to put that in my deck. I did get the Silver Fur Master when I opened my first 6 packs. This was the only gold card that I got. So I didn't build around it, but now after opening my second packs, I did get some more ninjas and rogues, so that's why I'm thinking that I might go that route. Invigorating Hot Springs. This is what I got in one of my second packs as well. Enters the battlefield with 4 1/1 counters on it. Modified creatures you control have haste, and then you can remove a 1/1 counter from the Hot Springs and put a 1/1 counter onto target creature you control. Activate only as a sorcery and only once each turn. So this is good if you're going down that route of the modified creatures. So maybe I'll go that route, but I didn't get too much red that I like. Ecologist Terrarium. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land. So that's nice because it's only a 2-drop. And then it also gives you the ability to sacrifice it and put a 1/1 counter on target creature. So once again, if you're going down that modified route, that is a way to go. I got 2 network terminals. Didn't feel it was necessary to put them in there because I was only 2 colors. It does give you the ability to rummage, but I didn't really feel it was necessary to put those in there. Papercraft Decoy. I did get to use that ability a couple of times to draw a card. It really was just something to get out there quick and hopefully attack and not get blocked, because sometimes you just really don't care about taking 2 damage. And then I can ninjutsu and something else. A quick creature, so ninjas, kunai. A quick creature has +1, or equipped creature has 1 tap, sacrifice ninjas, kunai. Ninjas, kunai deal 3 damage to any target. So this is nice just as a removal, or you can close out a game with it. I didn't draw it, so I never got to use it. I got another Ecologist's Terrarium. I got a Shrine Steward. This was really more so of going down the shrine route, which I didn't really get too many shrines. I think I just got the 2 actually, so a blue one and the red one. Does work for auras as well, but if you're not going down the green-white auras path, it's not really helpful. Automated Artificer. You can tap to add 1 colorless, spend this mana only to activate abilities or cast artifacts. I didn't really have a ton of artifacts, so it wasn't really worth it. Enters the battlefield. The Iron Apprentice enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. If it dies, if it had counters on it, put those counters on target creature you control. If you've played a lot of Magic, this has been an ability before called modular. I don't know why they didn't keyword it, but for whatever reason. But that gives you the ability to move those 1/1 counters, and then you can modify a creature that's not modified. Another Papercraft Decoy, Shrine Steward. I wanted to put this into my green-blue deck to see if I could get the ability to use some channel. So, for example, if you channel your Boseiju and you have to discard that card, this gives you the ability that if you do discard, you may play this card this turn. So just don't play your land drop that turn, channel the Boseiju, put it into your graveyard, and then play it to get the added benefit. Never saw it in my game, so never got to use it. A couple of the vehicles that I got Dragonfly Suit. So blue-white is your main colors for vehicles. The Thundersteel Colossus, I did use this in my pre-release a long time ago, and this helped me win a couple of games, but those matches did seem to go a lot longer than what these matches did, so I didn't want to put that in there. Just want to try to get as many smaller quick creatures out as possible. Brute Suit, this did get played a bunch against me in the games that we were playing. Vigilance was great on it, and then it's only Crew 1, so Crew 1 for a 4/3 with Vigilance was great. Might put this into the new deck that I play. We got Futurist Sentinel, I got that twice. So that's the cards that I got. What I'll do is I'll kind of cut it here, and then I'll build the deck that I think I'm gonna play this next week. And I'll come back and I will show you what it is. So let me go ahead and build that, and I'll be back. All right, so I was thinking about it, and I was unsure if I wanted to post this just because I'm going to be sending it to the group that I'm going to be playing against, but I would love to kind of hear your opinions on it and see if this is something that you would go with. But I'm thinking about this setup. I've got a pretty low end, so I think I can run with 16 lands. Kept the 2 higher end cards in there because one, I want to ninjutsu in an ogre because that sounds fun, but went for the Silver Fur Master. I've got a couple of the Prosperous Thieves in there to help with mana fixing. Yeah, so this is what I'm thinking about running. Let me know what you think. If you think I'm crazy and you're like, why are you not running green? Because you've got a Beseiju and you got a ton of green cards that are in there that are incredible. Let me know, because the more I win, the better I do and the better prizes I get. So let me know. Tell me what you think. See if this is good, and what would you run? Let me know. All right.